Some roads are quiet, peaceful, forgotten by most. But every now and then, a quiet road becomes the center of something much louder. That's what happened just past mile marker 47, on a two-lane highway with more trees than traffic. And at the center of it all, was Mr. Elias Monroe. Elderly. Black. Dressed sharp, buttoned shirt, pressed slacks, military posture that never left him. He wasn't speeding. He wasn't swerving. He was simply driving, slow, steady, and alert. But to the young officer who pulled him over, that didn't matter. Blue lights flashed. A patrol cruiser appeared behind him. Elias calmly slowed down, pulled over, and rolled his window down before the officer even stepped out. "License and registration," she said, no greeting, no smile. Elias handed them over without a word. His face unreadable. The officer looked at the documents, then looked at him. "What are you doing out here?" "I'm heading to a veterans event," Elias replied. "There's a memorial in Franklin County." She squinted. "You live around here?" "No, ma'am." "That's funny," she said, taking a step back. "Because I've never seen anyone like you come through here." Elias paused. "Anyone like me?" She didn't answer. Instead, she walked back to her car, documents in hand, and sat inside for almost 5 minutes. Typing. Scanning. Checking things that didn't need to be checked. When she returned, her voice was sharper. "I'm going to have to ask you to step out of the vehicle." "May I ask why?" "Step out of the vehicle." And just like that, the tone shifted. Not because Elias had done anything wrong, but because the officer had decided, he didn't belong. And when someone like her decides that, everything changes. He stepped out, calm. Hands visible. Movement slow. She searched him, right there on the side of the road. Pat down. Pocket check. Not one bit of hesitation. And yet, Elias said nothing. Because men like him have been here before. Not this exact road. But this exact feeling. And it doesn't get easier with age. Before I tell you what he did next, and why one phone call changed everything, I need you to take a second to subscribe to this channel. Because this story isn't about a traffic stop. It's about what happens when someone with power assumes you have none. After the search turned up nothing, the officer opened her car door. "You're going to sit in the back until I finish running some things." Elias raised an eyebrow. "I'm not under arrest. You're being detained. For my safety." That word, detained, sat heavy in the air. Elias looked at her calmly, then said just 3 words. "Call your supervisor." She laughed. "You don't get to make demands, sir." He didn't respond. Instead, he reached into his coat, slowly, carefully, and pulled out something unexpected. A secure, encrypted phone. Old-looking, black, matte finish. Government issue. He tapped one number. Held it to his ear. Waited. The officer stepped forward. "Sir, put the phone down." But then, someone answered on the other end. And Elias said it clearly. "Patch me through to Langley. Priority clearance. Monroe 6'9". She froze. Because Langley doesn't mean a lawyer. It means CIA headquarters. And priority clearance? That means this man isn't just someone. But before we go further, let me ask you something. Have you ever been treated like you were invisible, even when you had power right in your hands? Have you ever been ignored, profiled, talked down to, by someone who thought their uniform made them untouchable? Then it's time you started reclaiming your energy. That's where the 369 manifestation code comes in. This isn't just self-help fluff, it's a real, 3-digit frequency pattern based on Tesla's discovery, helping people reset their mindset, energy, and even financial reality in 24 hours or less. Thousands are already using it. Quietly. Powerfully. Click the first pinned comment below, and unlock it today. Because the world may not give you respect automatically, but you can still command it. Back on the roadside, the officer tried to stay firm. I don't know who you think you are. But Elias was no longer listening. He was calmly giving coordinates. Clarifying location. And then, the sentence that changed everything. Tell Director Hensley it's Elias. We've got a situation. The officer took a step back. She wasn't in control anymore. And she was starting to realize, maybe she never had been. The officer stood frozen, hand near her holster but not moving. Not because Elias was a threat. But because, for the first time since pulling him over, she finally understood. She had no idea who she was dealing with. Elias lowered the phone slowly. Then he looked at her, not with anger, not with arrogance, but with a calm that cut deeper than either. You're going to want to wait right here, he said. Help is on the way. She forced a nervous laugh. Help? You're the one being detained. He didn't answer. He didn't need to. Because 7 minutes later, 2 black SUVs appeared on the horizon. Not police. Not county sheriffs. Federal clearance vehicles. They didn't use sirens. They didn't flash lights. They just rolled in, quiet, steady, and with purpose. The officer took a step back, watching as the first SUV parked beside her cruiser. From the back seat emerged a tall man in a dark gray suit. Sunglasses. Earpiece. A laminated badge with a red stripe, the kind only a few agencies use. Elias Monroe? The agent asked. Elias nodded once. The agent turned toward the officer. You detained him? She hesitated. He wasn't cooperating. No, Elias said calmly, I cooperated. I was profiled. The agent turned back to her. Do you have any idea who he is? The officer stayed silent. The agent took a slow breath and said. This man served 35 years in military intelligence. He's been cleared on operations you don't even have the clearance to spell. He trained CIA operatives in counter-surveillance. And right now, he's making a report. She swallowed hard. Because for the first time in her career, she was no longer the one writing the report. The agent handed Elias a folder, discreet, unmarked, and whispered something too low to hear. Then he turned back to the officer. We'll take it from here. She opened her mouth, but the words didn't come. So she stood there, red-faced and stiff, as Elias was escorted back to his vehicle. No handcuffs. No ticket. No raised voices. Just silence. The kind that speaks louder than any siren. The footage from a passing driver, captured on a dash cam, later surfaced online. It didn't go viral for the usual reasons. There was no yelling. No drama. Just one powerful moment. An elderly black man, calm and composed, standing in silence. As a uniformed officer was told, "You're out of line." News outlets picked it up. The agency gave no official comment. But the message was clear. Respect isn't earned through a badge. It's earned through restraint. Through experience. Through knowing who you are, even when others don't. Let me leave you with this. You don't need to shout to have power. You don't need to fight to have value. And you never need to prove your worth to people who refuse to see it. What you do need, is to remember it yourself. And if you're ready to realign your energy, reclaim your confidence, and attract the respect and clarity you deserve, click the first pinned comment below. The 369 manifestation code is a 3-digit frequency pattern, based on Nikola Tesla's secret to manifestation, and it's helping people transform their reality in ways they never imagined. Power doesn't always look loud. Sometimes, it looks like silence, followed by a single phone call that changes everything. If this story hit you, like the video, subscribe, and tell us in the comments. Have you ever been underestimated, until they saw who you really were? You're not alone. And your voice, no matter how calm, matters more than they think.